If you're a fan of InDesign's span columns and tables, then you'll be really happy to know that in CS6 you can now apply keeps settings to them. Well, you could always apply keep settings to them in previous versions, but you couldn't be assured that they would actually work. In fact, they were usually ignored. Turns out it's a very complicated process to figure out how to make sure that spans and tables understand what keeps are, but they set an engineering team to the task, and now we can. So here we have an example of a 2-page document, and this text frame is 3 columns, and it threads to this text frame, which is 2 columns, and we have a span paragraph here. Let's zoom in a bit. So you can see the problem is that we have a span paragraph called callout span. Let me close that for now. That looks kind of dumb because we have this one line right here. What we'd like to do is make sure that wherever we have the span paragraph, that all of the lines of the paragraph stay together, and that's a job for keeps. So what we can do is just click anywhere in the paragraph, go to the control panel menu, go down to keep options, make sure preview is turned on, and say that we want all the lines together. There you go. Isn't that nice? Click OK, and we can test it out if you want. So if I bring this down lower, then it's able to have room and it stays up here. But when there's not enough room for all of the lines in the paragraph to stay together, then it goes and jumps to the next frame in the thread, which is what we prefer. Yay! It also works for tables. So here's a table. Now if I drag the bottom of this frame up and release it in the middle of the table, then we end up with 4 rows here and 3 rows here, which looks pretty dumb. And it would look really dumb, especially if this was on another page or spread. This looks dumb actually as is in another column. So you want to apply keep settings to everything. Now, some designers discovered that you could treat every row as a separate paragraph and then try selecting every single row and applying keeps. And sometimes that worked, but now it's a lot simpler. Let's bring it down a bit. The paragraph that the table sits in, let's zoom in a bit so we can see that better. Remember, a table is kind of like an inline object. It sits in its own paragraph. You just select that paragraph return, or you can select the entire table if you want. And then for that paragraph, turn on keep everything together. So keep options, keep lines together. And now let's drag this up. There you go. So even though there's plenty of room for a few more rows, we want the table to stay together, so it jumps to the next column in the thread. There you go. 2 nice fixes. Keeps now works with spans and tables.